It is Memorial Day weekend, 2015, Nebraska, and we are in our entomology department and agronomy department pollinator plot. And what I did here is spray a chemical control to control some of our winter annual weeds that are pretty much infested, or actually taken over, is a better way to say it in this, our pollinator plot. And so I sprayed this, and it needs a couple hours to dry. We are expecting rain in about 2 hours, so hopefully it doesn't wash away the treatment on the weeds. And what I did is basically went around the entire 2/3 of the plot where we have our native prairie, and you can see a section not where there's fewer weeds, where we hand cultivated the weeds there. And I did spot spraying throughout. Most of what's in here is knotweed, as well as some ragweed. We do have a few nice plants that are coming up. Bee balm and Rocky Mountain bee plant, some Monarda species of plant. That's what those are there. Those are going to be beautiful in a couple weeks. You can basically see the great bee plants. You can see the purple flower starting to form there, and it's going to bloom. But most of what's in here is a winter annual. It's choking out all of our good stuff. We also have some clover, red and scarlet clover growing in here that is pretty thick throughout the orchard area where we have our plot. So we sprayed some of that too. So what I did is spot sprayed this, whereas I had a student, we're doing a demonstration here, cultivate the other half. So what will happen in the next 5 days is most of the spots that I sprayed should die off. And underneath there are good plants, the plants that are desirable, that we have in here are struggling to come up because they're getting choked out by these winter annual weeds. And so hopefully what we've done is topped out, hit the top of the weeds. That will basically, the chemical that I sprayed here is basically will kill the plant anywhere where it comes in contact with the leaves, the chemical itself, but does not have a residual effect and does not get into the ground and kill the other plants. So it does dry very fast. It's relatively mild in that sense, but it will wash away if we do get rain, moderate rain here in the next couple hours. So what I hopefully have done is not hit the good plants and hit many of the undesirable plants, at least the things we don't want here in this area. But not a lot of blooms yet. Hopefully, and in doing this, it'll kill the weeds we don't want that have taken over and allow the other good stuff to come up. So, one thing, it depends on if you're trying to do this at home. You do need to do a lot of preparation of your ground, and it's good to prep it for about a year. And we did not have the opportunity to do that. We basically tilled up and controlled weeds once last year throughout the whole plot. And we've got a lot of seed that's from the previous several years probably in here that have come up. So what we're going to try to do is experiment here a little bit and see essentially what happens to these two sections, the one where we hand cultivated and chop down the weeds versus the one where we use the chemical control, and just see what happens. I think, we're going to do this over the summer and look at the differences as far as diversity of plants and quality of the habitat here in our pollinator plot throughout the summer as this develops. And so, this is what we're doing. We're just demonstrating different things that a homeowner might do. I would like to avoid the chemical control if possible, but some people use it, so that's one of the reasons why we're using it, to show people the goods and bads of that approach, and also the goods and bads of the approach of hand cultivating. That little section over here, we've got a bunch of flags you might be seeing in the video. Basically, took that student a whole entire day just to cut down this whole section. But she did a very nice job, and it's got about 2 days of deadfall in it. So, but it took me literally about an hour and a half to spray about a section 4 times of what she did in that day. So it would take 4 days of work to my 1.5 hour to do the same amount of control of those weeds. Now we're going to see what happens with the quality. I can tell you that some of these plants look very, very good. This one right here is super thick. It's one of our Monardas, and it was not that thick a couple days ago. So just that little bit of work that she did to clear some of the weeds really allowed that plant to thrive just in a couple days. But you can see a lot of these plants are going to come back up, so she's going to have to come back out here again and by hand control those weeds, and hopefully this next time around won't be quite as hard. She's got most of them knocked down. We are expecting about about a week's worth of rain. It's been an extremely wet year. As a matter of fact, the wettest May on record in Lincoln, Nebraska. And so it's been really tough to get in here. And so when you're doing these kind of controls, which I think are great if you can do it by hand and have the time to do so, you know, you got to stay up on it. And she's going to kind of miss a window. And I bet when we come out here in a week, most of that's going to be up. So anyway, we look forward to more videos here as we go through the plot.